Ricky tweets, "Hey, Ricky, you're so fine, you blow my mind, dear Ricky." He tweets, "No idea why Javid is going on about a 10-year plan to cut smoking, drinking and obesity, because thanks to this cost of living crisis, people won't be able to drink, smoke or eat." Problem solved. And Trevor emails, "Eating or heating? Is this levelling up?" Yeah, well, if you believe that whole thing about levelling up, then I have a bridge I'd like to sell you. I mean, why do they need to level up? They've been in power for over 11 years now. What are they levelling up from? They've only just become interested in the plight of the poor. Hounslow. Hello, Sarah.
Hi there.
Sarah.
Oh, hi, Michael. I'm a long-time listener. First time getting to speak to you.
Welcome along.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about spiders. So I feel like...
no.
No? Why not? I feel like they shouldn't even have the audacity to come into our house knowing that we're at the top of the food chain and then to think that we're not going to kill them. Like, no offense, but I will. If I see any sort of small insect in my house, I will kill it straight away.
Yeah, don't take any nonsense from a small insect. Probably killing it. I don't know. Do you like birds?
No. Well, they sound nice in the morning, but...
Tweety
birds.
birds.
If he came to my house, of course, I'd let him go because he's, it looks nice.
Because birds eat spiders. So you might want to just chuck it out the window and then a bird will eat it later. Mm-mm.
That would be great. But yeah, talking of slimy insects, Boris Johnson, I think we've had enough now. Can we just get him out of here, or do you have to wait any longer? Or?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Sarah. We've had enough now. I mean, come on. This has been going too long. Put us out of your misery.
Bye-bye.
The only person I imagine who thinks that he can just bluff his way through this is Boris Johnson. Everybody around him has thought, okay, that's it, I'm leaving. All of those people that have been working with him for decades, for just on and on, and they know exactly who he is. Of course they do. They work closely with him every day. And all of the misinformation, all of the disinformation, all of the lying, the cheating, the swindling, all of that's been absolutely fine up to now, when they realise with a shock who it is that they're actually working for. Please. I think they protest too much. Joe texts, "Boris is a liar, that's fine. Energy bills are going to skyrocket, that's fine. The country's in the worst economic crisis in the last 30 years, but that's fine. But there's no hula hoops crisps in the shop. That is the last straw. Outrageous. Damn it! No hula hoops? Well, you better not tell Steve Allen, because he's going to freak." Well, what other snack can you fit on the end of your finger and then bite off in that satisfying manner? There isn't any. I mean, you could just about jam one of your thinner digits in the end of in the hole of a polo mint, but that's not the same. You can't eat a whole bag of polo mints. Hula hoops. You shove your hand in the bag, and you will at least get one finger crowned with a hula hoop. And then you chew it off. I feel like licking my fingers right now just thinking about it. Scott emails, "Greetings from Kansas. It's colder here than Jacob Rees-Mogg's heart for the poor. It's true that we managed to kick Trump out a year ago, but we badly underestimated the insanity of his followers. They're so loyal to him, they're willing to refuse vaccines, drink bottles of bleach, and die of COVID, all just to own the libs." That's true. That is true. If it doesn't matter, and it's the same here, it doesn't matter if the way that you act is not in your own interests, just as long as it upsets the other side. That's all that matters. What is bizarre is, and I was talking about this with Dave Ross on the Sunday show last, is that all of these right-wing, how to sum them up? Yeah, that's it, dinglings. All of the dinglings in America are refusing the vaccine, and they're eating horse dewormers or whatever it is that they're into. Because for freedom. And left-wingers are trying to persuade them that they've made the wrong decision, and they're trying to save their lives, as though right-wingers would do the same. You're shooting yourselves in the foot, you left-wingers, as usual. Just let them. And there will be fewer to vote for their chief chump next time round.
I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
Whining and whining and whining. Kansas. I heard that everything was up to date in Kansas City. I heard they'd gone about as far as they can go. John says, do you like Marmite? If so, on toast? Yes. How else are you going to have it? Just eat it straight from the jar with a spoon? Oh. That's a no from me. Ealing. Hello, John.
Oh, hello.
John.
Good to speak to you. I've got a couple of just two things I want to say. I won't hold you long on the phone, but comes from my late father, because my understanding of the phrase "get your goat" was to do with thoroughbred horses before races actually having a goat put into their stable with them to calm them down. And if somebody took the goat away, they would then be kind of upset and they might possibly lose.
Ah.
And that's my late father's. Well, so that's what he told me.
If I was relaxing in my bedroom and somebody introduced a goat into the room, I wouldn't be relaxed.
Well, I don't know. Maybe horses have maybe they're just scared of the goat. I mean, who wouldn't be? I mean, I don't know. No, but apparently it calms them down. So this is what my father told me, because he was, an Irish fellow who's interested in horse racing.
Right.
Yes. So the other point I was going to make is this: it absolutely astounds me. This business about on Question Time and on lots of other programs, you've got Tory MPs making a statement about the fact that Boris Johnson made some collective caricature of Keir Starmer, saying he was responsible for the Jimmy Savile thing. Right? Now, the point is, though, he didn't say that. He said you. He didn't say your organisation. Right? So, and yet all of them are standing by him, and they're all saying, well, no, he was making a wider point about taking responsibility.
It's the cut and thrust of politics. Right.
That's it. Exactly. The point is, though, what annoys me about this, not only the mendaciousness of it, is the absolute hypocrisy, because he's not taken responsibility for anything he's done. If you think about everything he's done, the arrows all point to him. But yet, what responsibility is he taken? And he's going to accuse Keir Starmer of shielding a bloody lunatic like bloody Savile. They never seem to judge it by the same standards.
But it's also what would Donald Trump do, and the reason that those nodding dogs in the cabinet are defending him is because they know that whoever comes in next is going to fire the lot of them. They'll all be out in their ear. So they have to keep Boris Johnson in place so that they can maintain access to their company car.
But also, you mentioned earlier on, Jacob Rees-Mogg. I mean, this morning, he's been called to retract a statement he made about Boots having a lower-priced morning after pill, because he more or less intimated that it's the same as abortion.
Well, he didn't intimate it. He said it, and he used some.
I'm being generous.
A precisely Mogg word. What was it? What was the phrase he used?
Was it in Latin?
It looked Latin to me.
Abortus veriamus.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God! Listen. No, as far as I'm concerned, all you need to do is to look down into your trouser area, and if you're not a woman,
please.
you have no reason or right to talk about abortion.
Well,
it's up to a woman.
Right. I do know that abortion is not a topic that I'm going to
no, I don't
tally
want you
with
to be,
on this show.
What amazes me is why he's talking about it.
Because he uses his religion as a weapon. He hides behind it, and but doesn't seem to act in the way that Jesus would in any given situation.
I was just about to say the same thing, Nick. You mentioned that earlier on, and something popped into my head. Think about the ultimate person looking for a home, the ultimate person travelling, looking for somewhere. It's Jesus trying to find somewhere.
Right. We would push him back out to sea and hope he drowns.
They don't have the sense to actually realise that the people they're pushing back into sea are like the equivalent of Jesus looking for a stable or somewhere to live.
They use religion as a weapon.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Abortifacients. Yeah, oh God, that bloke. Asked if he would make time for a debate on sexual and reproductive health, he said he would not speak in favour of abortifacients. I mean, is Ken Dodd not available? Can we have Benny Hill run the country for a while? How about Lord Snooty out of the comic? Would be a good idea at this point. It's like they're all characters in a carry-on film. Like what foreigners would assume that British people were like in the 1950s. It's just embarrassing at this point. Toe curling. If I ever get to leave the country and go somewhere else, I'm going to tell everybody I'm, I don't know, Irish, Australian. I could keep up an Australian accent for a while. But not a New Zealand accent, because I couldn't live with that. 0345, and I mean that in a very positive and respectful way. But I couldn't do a New Zealand accent for more than about 2 seconds without needing a holiday from doing that. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yes, it's about the destruction of this once fine nation. Never mind, eh? Jason says, Sunday in the 1970s for me, it was where I sat outside the pub in the Vauxhall Victor with a bottle of Coke and a bag of crisps while Dad was in the public bar. Oh, dear. Paul says, hang on a minute, I'm going to cough. That's better. Paul says, imagine if Johnson deliberately seeded the Starmer lie to corral the right to spread the lie on social media. You can see them all going, aha, and finally someone has spoken up in the mainstream media. The right-wing conspiracy theorists are like hyenas gleefully scavenging on the fears and the suffering of others. That's well put. Well, it's vivid anyway. Tony tweets, get his goat. This expression comes from a tradition in horse racing thought to have a calming effect on high-strung thoroughbreds. A goat was placed in the horse's stall on the night before the race. Well, where did the horse sleep? And Andrew texts, the expression gets my goat could come from the cheeky act of pulling at someone's goatee beard, which would be very annoying. No. I'm going with the horse thing, even though that makes not much sense to me. I mean, how would you feel if somebody stuck a goat up your room? Jeanette says, the worst thing politicians say are robust and it's the right thing to do is the right answer. If I hear the word robust one more time, I'm going to scream. Robust. I mean, a memo has obviously gone around for them to use the word robust a lot because it's not a word that ordinarily comes up in conversation. When have you ever said robust? And you didn't hear it in conversation either. You didn't hear politicians say robust. But then all of a sudden they were all saying robust all the blooming time. They had the Ian Hislop out of Private Eye in one of these ridiculous waste of time committees that they have. They natter away and make themselves feel that they're doing good. for the extra cash they get. I don't know, what do they get, like 15 grand a year extra for sitting on one of those things before they all go to lunch and congratulate themselves on a good day out. And some bloke who, oh God, so defined supercilious, him and Smug. And he said, and I don't know, I thought that perhaps there was something wrong with him. He said, I'd like to thank you for the robust way in which you've robustly answered all of the robust questions that we have robustly put to you. It's been robust. And thank you for robustly demonstrating your robustness. I thought, my God, is he getting paid for each use of the word robust? And Ian Hislop did not refer to it, although I felt that he was on the edge of doing it. But for that moment and that moment alone, he was very respectful. Respect.
Be polite.
Robust. The Prime Minister has made it very clear that... Liar! Exactly. Whatever follows the word that in that sentence is a lie. The Prime Minister has made it very clear that up is down. Josie text, seems to me that Bodge and his fellow Bodgekins have achieved in 2 short years the complete grinding down of the nation. I'm off to start a revolution, says Josie. Well, the best of luck with that, Josie. As long as you don't do it in an intentionally or reckless way and cause a public nuisance. Otherwise, it's 51 weeks in jail for you. Can you believe that that's where we're at? Cumbran. Hello, Philip.
Hello there.
Hello there.
That opinion poll that you read out a while back, as a person who supports the Liberal Democrats, I was disappointed that they weren't in that opinion poll. Now, I haven't seen it. I don't know what the terms of reference were. Yeah. And I know the Labour and Conservatives are the 2 biggest parties. But as a Remainer... the Liberal Democrats, in one sense, are the only, if you can say, pro-European party out of the other 2. The old Liberal Party, going back 50, 60 years ago, and I'm old enough to remember Joe Grimman when I was a boy, leading the old Liberal Party, they were the first party to want us to go into the European Economic Community.
Right. Well, now, Thatcher, don't forget her.
Yeah. Well, she took us into the single market. She was all in favour of that, and then she changed her mind, didn't she, towards the end of her term?
Did she? But just to put you out of your mystery, the Lib Dems are not in this this survey. They come under other, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's what I'm a bit disappointed at. Right.
I can tell you what they've scored on each of those questions, and it was about the same on each question. It was about 19%.
Yeah.
Do you support the NHS? Which party do you trust most to do the following? Support the NHS, tackle poverty, manage housing, support the education system, manage the economy, tackle crime, respond to the coronavirus crisis, handle immigration, manage foreign affairs, and protect the environment. And on pretty much every single question, other got 19%. And the Labour Party won in a landslide.
Yes, yeah, they did. I mean, I know Brexit has probably been done. I mean, I would like to think a day might come. It probably won't in my lifetime because I'm 68. We'll never
68 years old. Brexit has not been done.
Well, what I mean is, I would like us to rejoin, but right. I can't see that happening.
Then if we don't, then our future is probably just like that of a slowly deflating party balloon.
That's right. I mean, just before I let you go, I mean, I'm in a constituency here in South Wales. We've got a Labour MP, a huge majority. Now, he's going to win whatever. Now, I'm going to vote Liberal Democrat. Now, I know the Lib Dem is not going to win in our seat. But as a committed European, I've got no option of principle to vote for them because I don't trust the Labour Party with their high jinx on the EU and all that, and certainly not the Conservative. So I'm going to vote for the Lib Dems, but it's not really going to make a lot of difference in my constituency where I live.
Yes, which is another excellent reason why we should have proportional representation.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, well, the best of luck with that, Philip. 0345 6060 973. The best of luck with your worthless vote. Sam texts, when Johnson made his Jimmy Savile slur, Rees-Mogg was triumphantly nodding and grinning and pointing at the opposition front bench, as in gotcha. Right. Well, that certainly sounds like him. That's what Jesus would do. Josie said, it seems to me the Bodge and his fellow Bodgkins... oh, no, I've read that one. Des emails, supercilious comes from the Latin word for eyebrow. It literally means of or pertaining to the area above the eyebrow, above the eyelid. Right. Okay. That makes no never mind. But I suppose an arched eyebrow just about sums him up. Does he have the strength to arch an eyebrow? Just about. And if he gets tired halfway through arching it, he could get Nanny to help him. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, the old bag is right. 0345 6060 973. Simon texts, you say the youth of today would find it hard to believe that nothing was open on a Sunday. Do you remember half-day closing? Why, yes, I do. In Marlow, when I were a lad, it was on Wednesday, and all the shops were shut at 1 o'clock, he says. In today's 24-hour society, they would find it ridiculous. They would find it literally unbelievable. And yet, all you have to do is go to, I don't know, France, and you'll find that they still do that, as though they're not that interested in making money. As though making money was not necessarily the most important thing in life. You know, Hazard, out of Hazard and Sparkles, was talking about that. And, of course, he had a giant pile of opprobrium poured all over him. Prince Hazard, out of Hazard and Sparkles, offered his own woke guide to business today. Oh, God, woke. I mean, talk about lazy shorthand. What does woke actually mean? Being concerned for the feelings of others. No, we don't want to be concerned about the feelings of others. Because, I don't know, that's what, that would mark you out as a kind and caring person, to be not interested in the feeling of others. Hazard offered his own woke guide to business today as he told firms they should give everyone time to focus on themselves. Focus on themselves! Instead of just madly running to keep up and letting the bosses take home all of the wealth created by your 8 hours a day, while you work for peanuts under constant threat of the sack. Yeah, I mean, that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Reform the world so the blind pursuit of profits isn't the only focus of any business. I mean, just think of where we are. I mean, to actually make a business work for the people who make it go, rather than the one or two people in the executive suite and the shareholders that own the company through a complex web of non-companies that all have addresses in an empty building on some island tax haven, because that's the system that we've got at the moment. How's that working out for you?
Oh, fabulous.
But just the very idea that somebody suggests that maybe this isn't the best way for humanity to be running its business, then they're decried as being woke. I mean, the press, of course, were furious that Hazard ever suggested such a thing, but it makes sense to me. It does not make sense to the keyboard warriors, of course, who I would imagine would be among those to benefit if the concept of our working day was rethought for the benefit of the many, not the few. I mean, it's weird that the people that would benefit the most from easing up on the headline or headlong rush for profits at all costs are the same people that yearn for a more peaceful and simple time when we ran the local shop, which closed on a Sunday and a half day on a Wednesday, and we played cricket on the green and life was slower, which is the exact opposite of what they're defending, the always-on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week job. And we need to take our work home with us just to keep up. That's what they're defending. Probably because it was Prince Harry that said it. But just because it's Hazard out of Hazard and Sparkles doesn't mean to say it's not right. The Duke of Sussex, does he still call himself that? 38 years old, was, and this is how they rubbish anything that he has to say. This is the Mail. The Duke of Sussex, 38, was speaking from his $14 million California mansion with Meghan Sparkles, and has a series of endorsement deals with companies that pay him to represent their brands, as though that discounts him from having an opinion. The number of people that are allowed to have an opinion on anything is minute. I mean, you can't have an opinion on something unless you are an expert in that subject, or unless you are poor or rich, depending on the argument. And you can't have an opinion on anything if you are a celebrity. That's right out. But you can have an opinion if you're a journalist with no knowledge or experience of the subject, whatever. Or, of course, if you're one of those people that spend all day commenting on stories on Mail Online, mostly telling other people that they can't express an opinion because they disagree with you. This interview comes months after Hazard advised people who feel stuck in jobs that don't bring them joy to quit, and said leaving work was something to be celebrated nearly 2 years after his acrimonious departure from his job in the royal family. And of course, people will say, well, that's easy for him to say. But we are in amongst the Great Resignation. So many people, hundreds of thousands of people have thought after the last couple of years, they've reevaluated their life and thought, actually, the path that I was on was completely insane. Was I happy? No. I was just accumulating more bills that I had to work harder in order to pay off. And that's exactly what where they want you to be. Desperately running to stay still. And now somebody suggests that maybe that isn't the best way to go ahead. Makes sense to me. I mean, in countries that are less American than we are, the Scandi countries specifically, I don't believe that people are sort of on this rat race treadmill like we are. They have perspective. They're not all trying to be a Kardashian or, I can't think of the British equivalent. But, somebody who's got like a boat and a plane and 3 Bentleys and 5 houses and all of that. I mean, because it's almost never going to happen to you. It's as likely as winning the lottery. You just lead your entire life being unfulfilled. Constantly running after something that you're never going to get. What's the point of that? It's not like this is a rehearsal. This is it. And you spend your entire working life desperately chasing something that is out of your grasp. More money to fuel to pay off a credit card bill that's got so big that you never actually pay off the principal. You're just servicing the debt. You're just paying off the interest, which is precisely where the banks want you to be. And the wealth that's created by the vast majority of people is shared among the tiny minority, the 0.01% at the very, very top of the tree. And it's that we've accepted this as our way of being just seems astonishing to me. I mean, we stop and think about what it is that we're doing as opposed to what we could be doing. We could be in a job that pays less, in which we have to work less hard, we get more time off, and we, I don't know, say it softly, it might sound ridiculous to utter it out loud, enjoy life more. But because Hazard said it, out of Hazard and Sparkles, it's the stupidest thing that anybody ever heard, and he should shut up and sit down. What does he know about it? He's never had a job in his life. Yeah, well, that's not his fault entirely. I mean, he did have a career with the British Army, and he did work to the point that he was popular in that role, as opposed to a certain other royal individual who has enough medals to sink a battleship from not apparently doing very much to earn them, other than being, mummy's little precious. But anyway, that's by the by. Nothing's going to change. Simon texts, read that. Way ahead of schedule. Thanks, Simon. It was good first time, but I'm not going to read it again. Are you joking? Kate texts, I have just Googled your face. It doesn't match your voice. Oh, well, I'll change my face, Kate. Darryl says, people need to stop whining about the cost of living crisis and just manage their finances better. They could easily afford to pay their fuel bills if they stopped frittering away money on luxuries like food and water. Better still, simply sleep rough and you have no bills at all. Problem solved, says Darryl. There you see. What could be easier than that? Georgina says, 24 degrees centigrade. Turn the heating down and zip your fleece back up, Nick. Save energy. If you get cold, it will give you something to complain about. Everyone's a winner. Complain? I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
David says, how ironic. Sajid Javid wants to reduce my alcohol intake when it's Bodger who's driven me to it. Yes. Reduce my alcohol intake.
Booze.
No, I tell you what, I will when the regime does. How about that? Jeff says, have you forgotten the kind of old adage about spiders? Catch a spider, let it go, have good luck all day. You ought to give it a go. I've never heard that before. Catch a spider, let it go, have good luck all day. How would that work exactly? Is it scientifically accurate? Where's your proof? Hereford. Alex.
Nick.
Alex.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Have you read the small print in Fishy's new proposal for the £200 loan that we're going to be getting in October from our gracious leaders?
We've got to pay it back?
Well, yes, but, and this is the interesting part, it will even affect people who haven't had the loan.
Because everybody gets people who haven't had the loan. So
basically, the £200 that they're giving in October, irrelevant of whether you get it or not, it will be a levy that will be £40 a year for 5 years after, which, relevant of whether or not you actually had the £200. So if, for example, you buy a new home in year 2 of the repayment back, you'll still be paying back that money that you didn't actually benefit from.
Right. Well, that sounds like a great deal.
Yeah, some homework for you to do, Nick.
Yes, thanks a lot,
mate. Have a read of the T's and C's.
I'll certainly do that straight away, if not sooner. I don't do homework. Homework? But, sir, it's the weekend. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Think you're talking to?
I'm going to talk to Paul in just a minute, but first to some of these excellent texts and tweets and such, of which there are a boatload. We should push these out to see. Paul texts, levelling up, what happened to the Northern Powerhouse? Well, it's called something else now, Paul. If at first you don't succeed, just change its name. Gary says, don't forget Haribo rings. You can fit them on your fingers too. What's a Haribo ring? I bet my glamorous assistant knows all about them. What's a Haribo ring?
They're sweets in the shape of rings.
Oh, well, then I don't like them. Sweets? No thanks. Proper food. Hula hoops. Paul texts, have you tried the Marmite with chili in it? What? That's not a thing, is it? I was sceptical at first, says Paul, but oh my God, it's like Marmite but from the future. No, I'll take my Marmite from the past. Thanks. Anna emails, I once found a slug in the kitchen in the butter. Oh. That's not nice. Where are you keeping the butter? Oh. Now I'm feeling bilious. Thanks a lot, Anna. Stanford La Hope. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I'd love them to bring back the cabana. But anyway, I've got a couple of things I wanted to throw at you.
Paul, please speak directly into the phone.
Yeah, I'm talking right in the phone.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm saying I'd love them to bring back the cabana, but that's long hope.
The cabana?
Yeah, do you remember the cabana chocolate?
No.
With the cherry in the middle.
Cherries?
Yeah, it was coconut and cherry in the middle. It was really nice.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Very expensive. I couldn't afford it when I was at school. It was about 50 pence at the time. But yeah, I just wanted to say something. I just wanted to throw a couple of things at you, and I just wanted to get your take on something.
Yeah, I'll ask you one more time. Please speak directly into the phone.
Right.
There you are. Better? Yes.
Right. Okay.
Now it's got worse.
Okay, is that better now?
Yes.
Right, I didn't want to say this, but if Trump was in power now...
Again, I don't know what you're doing with that phone. What kind of a phone are you using?
Is that better?
You keep asking me that, and I say yes, and then you go back to mumbling again.
Okay. Let me keep it like this.
Right.
If Trump was in power now...
Yes.
I don't think we'd had that Ukraine crisis, to be honest.
If Trump was in power now, this entire planet would be a smouldering ruin.
Well, I was going to say... him and Putin are mates anyway.
Yes.
But also, I wanted to say, is there anything in place? Because things do look very tense up there, and it could go very sour very quickly. But I wanted to know, if things went really, really bad and we ended up going to war, and then it ended up going to beyond the reach of no return, is there anything, I mean, do we as the public have any say on whether or not we get involved or not? Because I just don't think, it would be nice for NATO to sort of pull back. So if Putin really wanted to go in there, he would have gone in already. I mean, he's a formidable force now. We've helped him build his forces up to what it is, the might and all the tech he's got now. We've helped the Chinese get their tech together. We've got that
I'm not sure that's entirely accurate. We've helped them. In what way?
Because the research guys who do all the high-tech weapons here also work with the Chinese research companies as well.
Our ethical foreign policy is we don't care what kind of weapons of mass destruction it is that your regime requires, as long as you get through the following strict measures, and that is to determine whether you can afford them or not.
Exactly. So I'm just wondering why we're so hell-bent on following the Americans down that road of, it seems like, to me, it looks like the Americans are pushing for a war, but no one else really wants to get involved. Germany doesn't want to know. Putin's just cut his gas off, and France really doesn't want to know.
No.
So I'm just kind of wondering.
Well, who actually wants a war outside of a psychopath?
Right, and why are we still sitting on... I mean, I wouldn't want somebody sitting on my doorstep with weapons, and that's what Putin's basically saying. But obviously, no one seems to be listening. And I do know that when you push someone into a corner, they usually bite back pretty hard. So
yeah, but rootin' tootin' shooting Putin is not in a corner. He is he's the one that's fashioning a corner for other people. He's making it such that it's impossible for anybody to ignore his aggressive stance. You can't possibly think that he is the innocent in this.
No, I don't think he's innocent. I do not think he's the innocent. No, I'm not going to say he is.
I'm just looking at a picture of a Cabana chocolate, by the way, and I find it hard to believe that used to get sold to the general public. Describe what it looks like.
It's lovely. It was. I wish they would bring that back.
Well, it looks like a sticky marvel. It's a chocolate square with.
No, that's not the Cabana. That's not it. No, The original. It was in a blue packet. It was in a blue chocolate bar packet. It was similar to a packet it was in the shape of a Mars bar, but not that Cabana. That's one that somebody's showing you can actually make one.
Right, because it looks very homemade. It looks like that woman off the telly. What's her name? You know, the woman off the telly with she'd be licking it lasciviously at the end. So yummy. She would be awful, dreadful,
disgusting,
terrible.
And another thing, Nick. Just another thing. I need to ask you, right? With this, with these nuke missiles and everything that's going on now, right? We don't have a warning system anymore because we came out of Brexit, so we're not attached to that satellite that used to give us the early warning system, right? So through Brexit. So what I wanted to find out is what safety net does the public have if things went down that road? There is none.
Well, there is actually, and it would fall to me if it all happened while I was on the air, and not a lot of people know this, but it would actually fall to me to give you the warning. I'll give you a test warning. This is just a test. This is not the actual warning. This is just a test, okay?
Right.
This is what you would hear.
Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
So there you have it, Paul. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Well, actually, that Cabana chocolate bar doesn't look bad either. Can you still buy that?
Yummy. No.
Oh.
It's not anymore, yeah.
I would buy that.
I would.
I would wait for Steve Allen to buy it and leave us a big
He'd
box
buy
of them.
Hundreds.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe he has an account with some biscuit manufacturers, but it's like he backed up a lorry of biscuits into the building. And none of them are my favourites. Thanks a lot, Steve. Desiree tweets, how can JRM claim to be a Christian when greed is one of the 7 sins? Oh, don't even get me started. Just look at his voting record and think, is this how Jesus would vote? And come to your own conclusions. Mark says, don't you remember Tony Soprano with his racehorse in the stable and the goat walks in and they all spend the night together? Very sweet. I refer you back to the answer I gave some moments ago. See, if I was sleeping all cosy in my bedroom and someone introduced a goat to the room, it wouldn't calm me down. I think I would get quite stressed. Mike says someone ought to start a petition calling for politicians to answer questions directly. If you got enough signatures, they would have to debate it in the chamber about whether they should answer journalists or opposition or the public's questions. Yeah, they're not going to debate it, then they're not going to ever do it. Not now, not ever, never. Ooh, look at that chocolate bar. Look it up on the World Wide Wide. Even the one that they used to sell, over the counter looks pretty good. But the one that it looks like that woman off the telly made, ooh, I would like that for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Licking it, she'd be.
Disgusting.
Peter tweets, sure-footed and robust gets my goat. Honestly, who came up with the idea that everybody had to say, all of these politicians had to say robust all the time? It's just the most preposterous word. It just sounds silly saying it. That and the Prime Minister has made it very clear that. I can't remember a time when the nation felt to me so as though we just think, oh, God, no, not anymore. That's it. Just get out. I can't ever recall thinking that. I mean, I can recall being annoyed at politicians and the country being, aggrieved at their rule, like Margaret Thatcher, for instance, at university. We couldn't say her name without spitting it out. Thatcher. And whatever she was for, we were against. But I don't think it ever occurred to us to think, oh, that's it. It's over. Get out. I don't think we were ever at that point. It's just sort of weary, it's not resignation. Well, maybe it kind of is. Just thinking, oh, come on, just leave. I never recall being at that point. Being angry at their policies, yes. But not just thinking, oh, you know what, we've had enough. Next. This is not how he thought it was going to go. And I bet he is the only person who really truly believes he can wriggle his way out of it. Squirm his way out like a greased Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World it has...
yes?
Peppa Pig?
Peppa Pig is the right answer. Except that joke's not funny anymore. His entire life he's been getting away with it just by doing his paw act. And he tried it again. He tried, oh, well, what the hell can I do now? I don't know, run away. I'll take a plane to Blackpool, because that makes sense. And while I'm there, I'll dress up in someone else's work clothes for another photo opportunity, because it worked last time, and the time before, and the time before that, and that. But it only really works in his mind. I believe he thinks he's cute. You tell me, what word should I use? He thinks he's charming, appealing, and all of those things I think, used to be generally felt. You know, when you're the Mayor of London, you don't really have to do anything. And he didn't. He achieved not doing anything very well indeed. Great success. Because the job's not really very much. It's attracting business to your city. It's sticking in a cycle lane every now and again. And, there's not much to it. Not really. You just have to be good at publicity, which he's great at. But I think, like any joke, the more you hear it, the less you like it. And when he was mayor, we didn't see that much of him, other than him signing off all those posters. But now we've seen him on a daily basis. We're thinking, like, oh, really? Okay. Okay. Who else is there? Unless I'm getting any of this wrong, in which case you can correct me. Oath robustly. Oh, look at the time. It's just past 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Serena Farrow. The time before that?
Nick Abbott on LBC.
Shut up.
I can't. Peter tweets, sure-footed and robust gets my goat. I'm pretty sure that I've read that already. It's like an echo in here. Chris says, yes, proportional representation would be great. But I thought that 25 years ago and nothing has changed. Why is it we hang on to ideas for so long and they never come to fruition, says Chris. Well, because the parties that are in power at any given time don't think that they will be benefiting from changing the way that we elect our representatives because they are in power at the time and can't envisage a future in which they aren't. Dorothy emails, the lady off TV is Nigella Lawson. Yes, that's right. The lady that, what were those chocolate bars called again? Caramel Crunch or something. Clicking?
Yes, let's have a look.
Caramel something.
No, they weren't. The Cabana.
Oh, Cabana. Yes, that's right. Oh, the gooey loveliness that I've got a picture of it on my screen. My glamorous assistant's just pulled that off the World Wide Wait. It looks like exactly the sort of naughty snack that Nigella Lawson would whip up. Zach says, Steve Allen used to work for United Biscuits Radio. UBR. The makers of McVitie's. Need I say more, says Zach. Yes, Zach, you need to say a lot more than that. Steve Allen used to be a DJ. Hey! Adam texts, Bojo was advised not to use the slur against Keir Starmer, but ignored it. I wonder what other advice, say from scientific advisors, he has also ignored and acted out of his own flawed intuition, says Adam. Well, that's probably everything, I would imagine. Well, that goes with leading a life with no consequences. Every decision he has ever made has not come with consequences. Even in the vanishingly unlikely event that he would be fired or chastised in some way, he just bounces back because he has surrounded himself his entire life with enablers. And the desperate attempts of the people that are around him who rely on him for their positions is just, it's just getting more toe-curlingly embarrassing by the day. Don't they realise? Well, they must do. They must realise that they've actually painted themselves into a corner, that they will be forever attached in people's minds to this regime, and they will never be able to beat the stink out of it from their suits. On and on they go, talking about robust, and the Prime Minister has been very clear that, and it's the cut and thrust of political discourse and all that nonsense. It comes to them on an email, and then they read it and have to learn it, and then they start spewing out the nonsense. Oh, we've got the fastest growing economy in the G7. We have more people in employment than ever before. We've got the crime is down, and all of these things are wrong. Every single thing that they come out with is incorrect, but they're allowed to say it because you can't correct them in real time. Which is, it doesn't actually say very much for journalism. Because it's not like they even have the wit to manufacture new lies. They just keep repeating the old ones. So you'd think that they would already have journalists, when they go on TV and some scribe quizzes them, you'd think that scribe would have the foresight to get some information to refute what it is that they're saying. But they don't. They never do. They just allow them to say it. And then they get corrected afterwards, which is a waste of time, because people, their fans particularly, and those that are on the fence, they have taken in the information that they saw on TV, and because it wasn't challenged at that moment, that's now become part of their belief system. Oh, we do have the fastest growing economy in the G7, and we do have more people in work than before COVID, and and the trade deals are benefiting us much more so than when we were in the European Union, and economic equality is up, and crime is down, and all of these things are totally wrong, but they just keep saying them all the time. If you just keep saying it over and over again, then it becomes an alternative reality. And that's where we're at, which explains a lot. You should. I can't remember which is which, but you had a choice of the blue and the red one, and you picked the wrong pill. I'd have had them both at the same time and just seen what would happen. 0345 6060 973. Woodford. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Nick. How's it going?
Good,
What's
thanks.
The crack?
What?
What's the crack?
Well.
Anyway, I'm calling up about the whole robust thing. So, without saying it, I'm a first-time listener, first-time caller as well. So
good man, welcome along.
Thanks for having me. This whole robust thing, just had a ring on. So I'm a solicitor, and we've had this chat.
You're a philosopher?
A lot. A solicitor.
I thought you said philosopher.
I wish I was.
You're a solicitor?
Yes.
Right.
And we've had this chat about the whole word robust, and what does the word robust mean?
Yes.
From a legal perspective, and who knows? But
who knows? I don't know. If only we could find a solicitor.
I'll cut to the chase, and I will tell you what the legal view on it is.
Please.
And it is, you will know what robust is when you see it.
That's the legal definition of robust. You'll recognise it when you see it.
That's what we came to. That is what the legal industry came to,
right,
in the word robust.
Well, as my solicitor, Michael, I have to tell you, you're fired.
Well, I didn't come up with it. It was a body of probably the best minds in the legal industry came up with that.
Well, then we're all in great trouble. If the best minds came up with "you'll know it when you see it," then we're all in deep doo-doo.
Well, that's it. Robustness. What is it? Who knows? You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, from a legal expert. All right, thanks for the good news, Michael. 0345 6060 973. I wish he'd been a philosopher. Wouldn't that have been better? Adam says, Bojo was no, read that. Chris says, I work as a guard on trains, and I was chatting earlier to a passenger getting off at a very Tory area. He was asking if I'd been jabbed and such forth. Not stabbed, jabbed. To which I said, yes, I am, in a very public-facing job. No, that's not what he says. He says, to which, yes, I am, in a very public-facing job. That doesn't make any sense as a sentence. Never mind, carry on. Maybe it will make sense later. He says, anyway, he went on to say, thank goodness for Boris getting him through Brexit. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the success of the vaccines we did. I politely left the conversation by saying, definitely thankful for Boris for the one thing he stepped back from, turned out to be the biggest success. I'm glad he had his rose-tinted view to fall back on, says Chris. Right. If you see anything that needs sorted, say it, or however that goes. John says, here in glorious Hartlepool, we still have early closing, which is on Wednesday, just like it was when I were a lad living in 1970s Loughton, which was then on a Thursday. Hartlepool closes on a Wednesday. Another excellent reason not to go to Hartlepool. Pete says, one good thing JRM has done is keep that poor lady nanny employed for years. Jeff says, the male equivalent of the Kardashians with the attributes that you've mentioned is obviously Steve Allen. Regarding spiders, we don't need proof because we're all about feelings now. I can't remember what proof was required in the about the topic of spiders, but I do know that people don't like talking about or listening to anybody talking about spiders at this time of night, or at any other time for that matter. Kim says, it's if you want to live and thrive, let a spider run alive. Yeah, but what if it comes back and gets you? Kay emails, Johnson doesn't believe in anything other than money and the route in life to get to it while pushing down the poor in the process. Well, that's just a benefit, that last part. That's just a bonus. That's gravy, that is. Because it allows him to feel superior, which is, that's part of the upbringing. Part of that whole, thing they've got going on there. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Teddington. Sandra. Oh, an echo.
Huh?
An echo. Sandra, we're going to have to call you back because this echo is doing my head in. And everybody else that's listening. It's like doing a show in a cave. We'll call you back. Oh, painful. What's that about? Maybe the people over the road are on the party line. Nobody under the age of 60 is going to have any idea what that means. Do you know what a party line is? No, of course he doesn't. You wouldn't believe it if I told you. 0345 6060 973. I'm going to call. I'm not going to call. I'm going to talk to somebody in Tamworth in a minute. Isn't that exciting?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
James emails, I can confirm that the majority of shops here in Germany are closed on Sundays, with the main exceptions being supermarkets in the main stations. It annoyed me at first, but nowadays a bigger shop on Saturday avoids the need for a whinge, says James. Yeah, well, of course, if you needed a whinge on a Sunday, you'd be fresh out of luck because the shops are shut. You could always get one delivered. Claire says, I get what Kate was saying about your face not matching your voice. I thought you were Nigel Lithgow, the pop idol judge. Who's Nigel Lithgow? Got a picture of Nigel Lithgow?
Yeah, I'll find one.
Oh, he's going to find one right now. Don't you worry about that. I bet it'll be like looking in the mirror. Peter texts, I know you don't do your homework, but you simply must watch Michael Fabricant on a dating show on YouTube. You'll see him in a whole new light. It's life-changing. Trust me, says Peter. All right. Well, he's like considerably... I don't know how old he is. How old is he? He looks like he's been in the sun a bit too much.
He's 72.
72 years old. Right, not yet. Teddington. Hello, Sandra.
Yes.
Hello, Sandra.
Good evening. The way things are going, the cost of living going up so much with all the utilities going up, food going up and everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will still stay rich, because while the poor get poorer, the rich get richer.
Of course.
So
it's almost like it's a plan.
So many poor people that I think we need to have a national beggarable day.
A national
beggarable day, beggars on the streets. And instead of it being once a year, it would have to be once a month. And people are, forced into begging in order to pay their rates, etc.
Once a month.
Whatever, as often as they need to.
Right.
So that they can pay up their bills.
Okay, I'll see you at the Garden Gate, Sandra. Cheers, my dear. By the way, the energy prices are affecting the whole wide world, but some governments are doing different things than ours. Our government is giving us our own money as a loan, which we then have to pay back. The French government, and that's, by the way, I mean, our energy bills are about to go up, for like 50%, something like that. I mean, some people are talking about they've already had their bills and they've gone up 100%. 100%! The French government, meanwhile, you know France, don't you?
Boo!
Yes, that's them. The French government is going to force EDF, the French state energy giant, because they weren't stupid enough to sell their energy, their electricity and gas and water. That's us. The French government is going to force the state energy giant EDF to take an €8.4 billion financial hit to protect French households from rocketing energy costs by limiting bill hikes to 4%. What? 4% in France. Their bills are going to go up by. The company lost a fifth of its market value after the government set out plans to cap rising energy bills, which will force EDF to sell electricity generated by its fleet of nuclear reactors to rival home suppliers at well below the current record high market rates. That's what France is doing. In Spain, the government has introduced a windfall tax on electricity generators and gas producers that are able to profit from the record market highs. That's what the Spanish government is doing. Our government is lending our own money back to us, which we then have to repay. And they were asked flat out whether they were going to consider levying a windfall tax on these energy giants that are making so much money. I bet they wake up laughing. And the minister concerned said, oh, no, that would be the wrong thing to do. Really? For whom would it be the wrong thing to do? Taxing the super rich is never the right thing to do for a Conservative government. Isn't that curious? Odd. It's always a bad idea for the rest of us to tax the super rich. Curious. Tamworth. Hello, Eddie.
Oh, hi, Nick. Nick, I owe you an apology because I haven't rung you for ages.
No apology necessary.
Well, I was waiting for things to get better.
Consider myself lucky.
I was waiting for things to improve, so I'd have something, some good news to talk to you about.
Sadly not.
No, but I do remember party lines I remember a party line when we had our phone when I lived at home years ago, and we shared with a lady down the road who had a young toddler, and she was always giving this kid the phone to play with. So
oh my God!
You could never ever get a dialing phone to phone out.
Well, that would have driven me nuts. Kids, if you don't know what a party line is, it was telephone lines were so expensive that you used to share the rental of them with another house in your street, so that if you picked the phone up, you might just be listening to their conversation because it was always live.
Yeah.
And you had to wait till they were done. You pick the phone up every now and again, they'd still be yakking away. And then you had to wait until they were finished before you could make your vastly expensive call.
Yeah. Or you could go down and knock the door and say, "Oh, can you put the phone back on the hook?"
Right.
I want to make a phone call. Yeah. Anyway, Nick, I'm just on my way back from Cheshire because, believe it or not, I've just taken an injured fox, up to Cheshire because I work for Fox Rescue, and we cover the Midlands, but the treatment centre is in Cheshire. So any injured and poorly foxes we have in the Midlands, I have to take them up to Cheshire, and so that's what I've been doing this evening. Because the foxes don't come out normally till it's dark. They're very inconsiderate, so we can only catch them at night. So that's why I'm out at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Over the last couple of years, is it your experience that the fox population has exploded?
No. No, apparently it stays stable mainly because of road traffic accidents.
Well, not round my way. I drive home, and every single night I drive home, I must see at least half a dozen foxes dash across the road. They're smart now. You don't see many of them hit by cars. They know to disappear when a car comes. But since the lockdown, a couple of years ago, since we were all stuck inside, they felt to me like they took over. They thought, oh, those wobbling things on sticks, they're not around anymore. Let's take over. And they never sort of went back again. Now you're quite right. They often do come out at night, but they're also out lounging around in the daytime now. They've become bold. They've become very bold.
Yeah.
Well, you want to do something about that, Eddie?
I'll have a word with them.
Yeah, do that.
I'll see what I can do.
Have a strong word.
Enjoy the show. Keep up the good work, Nick.
I most certainly will do nothing of the sort. Thanks a lot, Eddie. 03, don't take advice. It's not a request show. Do I sound like Anne-Marie Minhall? Ken emails, blimey, just popped out of the shops and got back, and you're still on. That backbone. What does that mean? Is he commending me, or is he having a go at me? I can't tell. You just don't know these days. Neil texts, Cabana was lovely, as was Banjo and Splicer. These sound like Santa's reindeers. And the Milk Trade Bar, which was a bar, not a box, says Neil. Mark says, the Haribo ring is a metaphor for a cheap proposal ring when you want your girlfriend to have a ring when you propose, but have no idea of the size or style she would like as an engagement ring. I'm proposing to my girlfriend with one tomorrow in the Lake District, says Mark. Well, the best of luck with that, mate. On behalf of your proposed significant other, it's a no. And furthermore... No. Right, there's too many texts and emails for me to get through now, so I'll try and get through some of them at the beginning of tonight's show. I'll be back tonight at 10. Stick around, Ian Payne is here from 4. But first, it's Clyde Bull.
Nick, thank you. And coming up, Boris Johnson hanging on as another Conservative MP publicly calls for his resignation. There's that photo as well. He says change is good, But is what we really want a change of Prime Minister? Also a massive outpouring of policy this week, perhaps intended as a distraction. Do you believe that the package of measures aimed at the cost of living and the 8-year plan for levelling up will make a difference? And Facebook sees its first ever drop in daily usage as the company takes a $200 billion share hit. Are you inclined to turn away from Facebook and other social media? That and much more after the news at 1 on LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 1 o'clock, former Schools Minister Nick Gibb has become the latest Conservative MP to submit a letter of no confidence in Boris Johnson. In another revelation, the Mirror newspaper claims police have received a photo showing the PM holding a beer during his birthday celebrations in 2020, apparently in breach of lockdown rules. The SNP's Westminster leader Ian Blackford told LBC that this should now be the end for him.
If you have any shred of self-respect, of dignity, of decency, then you would recognise that you've broken the trust of the people, that you have no moral authority to lead, that the only honourable course is that of resignation, and that is exactly what the Prime Minister should be doing.
There are fears energy companies could be exploiting fluctuations in the UK's electricity supply just to make profits. Analysis shows consumers will end up paying a record £2.6 billion extra on their bills. It's because generating companies are charging high prices to boost the grid when wind and solar can't provide enough power. Rajiv Gogner is an energy analyst.
We have seen days that have cost between 30 and 60 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 between